Hello, everyone. It's me, Malice Alice, and today here are 3 to 4 more scary stories from TikTok. I'm thoroughly enjoying these, and if you do, leave me a ghost in the comment section below if you don't know what to comment, and if you like it, just tell me what you like about it in the comment section. All right, guys. Without further ado, I'll let the videos play.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
I have one. When I was 16, 17 years old, my bedroom was the attic of my parents' house. One night, I proceed to have one of the most real feeling dreams I've ever had. In the dream, I'm sleeping in my bed. I wake up in the dream to an older woman standing in the corner of my bedroom. I do not know this woman, never seen this woman. She actually looked quite ghost-like, a little translucent. You could see through her a bit. Like she she looked like a ghost. She proceeds to ask me, I have a son. He needs someone to play with. Would you mind playing with him? Not sure why I chose to say yes, but I did. And I was like, yeah, I'll totally play with your son. That seems totally normal. Like, we're in a dream, so, like, fine, I'll play with your son. As soon as I say, yeah, I'll play with your son, he appears, like, if I'm laying in my bed, like, she's on this side, he appears on this side of the room, like, right where the stairs are, the top of the steps. And he starts to walk over to my bedroom, to my bed, comes to my bed, and he's like, let's play arm wrestling. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. Let's play arm wrestling. So I put my hand up like this. He puts his hand in my hand, and we are arm wrestling. At first, it's like a good give and go. We're like, oh, yeah. And then, like, he pins my hand completely down. I feel his hand, hold on. I feel his hand around my hand, ice cold. He pins my hand down and is staring at me. And I'm like, okay, like, let's play again. And he goes, I don't think you want to play this game with me. Just like that, like, dead stare. I don't think you want to play this game with me. So I'm like, what does that mean? Let's play, like, okay, let's play the game. So he goes, no problem. Digs his nails into my hand like that and starts pinning my hand to the bed, yelling, I win, 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 I win. I rip my hand away from his. I feel the scratch marks on my, like, right here. And then he takes a step back with this, like, grin on his face. And he becomes this, like, black cloud of smoke. And I know that sounds unreal, but just stay with me. So he's this big cloud of smoke. This is all still in the dream. I get up, I'm screaming, I jump out of my bed. Here's where it gets crazy. I jump out of my bed in the dream and I wake up in real life and I am fully standing on my feet. So as I'm standing on my feet, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I'm down the stairs, out the room, right? And so my mom and my sister are downstairs in the kitchen cooking breakfast. My mom is a very spiritual person, so I have no problem just being like, yo, this is what just happened. Um, and it's like, disregard the dream if you want, but I was fully standing when I woke up. Insane. And so typically, not saying typically like this happens all the time to me, but like my mom we regularly would have priests come over, bless the house, things like that. So like that's not weird. So like my mom throwing holy water around the house is not like an odd thing in my household. So like I'm expecting her to be like, okay, let me go get the holy water. I'll spray your room down. Like, not a big deal. She goes, the holy water is right there. You're gonna go get it and go upstairs and throw it around your room with some salt. I'm like, why are you not doing it? She's like, I think you should do it. And I'm like, okay, this is insane. So I take the salt, I take the holy water, I go upstairs. My sister's like, I'll come with you, but I'm staying at the bottom of the stairs. Everybody's acting scared. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is something. So I have the holy water, I have the salt, I go upstairs. I have the holy water in like a little cup and I have the salt. I go upstairs and so I'm like throwing the holy water around, just a little flap, flap, flap around. And I have the salt and I throw it onto my bed and it sizzles. Bitch. I was going. I never ran down a flight of stairs faster in my life. I don't even think I touched one step. I jumped from the top 11 steps down, bow, hit it. I was downstairs the next flight, bow, hit it. I didn't stop for shit. I said the only way I'm going back up there is if y'all bring a priest to hose this house down with a fire truck of holy water. I'm not playing at all with y'all. And so my mama got the priest to come, and he blessed the whole house, top to bottom. He didn't miss no floor, no nook, no cranny. And I never had an experience like that again. So I don't know where that little boy is at, but I hope his soul is at rest because he...
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
I've had a lot of paranormal experiences throughout my childhood. In fact, one of them happened like right behind me, but this particular story happened in the Philippines. My dad and mom built a house years ago, about 5 minutes away from my mom's hometown. This house is in the mountains. There are like no street lights. It's pretty out there. Many of my family members have had experiences in this house, let me say that. The way this house is set up is there's 3 stories. The second floor is like the kitchen, living room, and all that stuff, and then the third floor are all our rooms, but the ground floor is actually where my aunt and my uncle lives. So there was one day where my cousin and I wanted to go to the river, and I had asked one of my aunts, and she was like, yeah, cool, that's fine, just ask your aunt and uncle, the ones that live downstairs, if we can come with them, because they were gonna go on their way there too. My mom is from a poor area in the Philippines, so we didn't have like a washing machine, dryer in our house. We had to go down to the river to wash our clothes, which is what my aunt and uncle were gonna do. And so my cousin and I went to the ground floor. We were knocking on his door and it was unlocked, so we were like, okay, like we'll open it a little bit, and we kind of just shouted through the door. And the way it's set up is that on the other side of the door, there's the kitchen and the living room, but you have to turn a corner to get to his room, which is where he was. He was on the phone. It sounded like a serious phone call, and we called him like twice, and he didn't answer. He was just talking on the phone, so we were just like, okay, cool. We'll just go by ourselves. My cousin and I walked our way down that hill to the river. We normally go with a lot of people or with an adult because it is like the mountains, and even though no one's from this area, if there was a car that went by, they could have easily like snatched us and gotten away with it because no one would have seen, and there are no like lights in this area. But who do we find when we get down to the river? My aunt and uncle were like knee deep in laundry, and we were just like, what the hell? Like, weren't you not just on a call back at home? No, they weren't. No vehicles had passed when we had gone down that hill to the river. So there was no way they could have walked or driven past. And that's just one of the experiences I had. I think my aunt that lives in the ground floor has had the most experiences in this house, because there was one time I saw her crying we had like a priest in the house, and he was like spraying like holy water or something. Unfortunately, my aunt has never told me any of her paranormal experiences, but my cousin, who lives in the ground floor, said that there was one time she's heard giggling from like children in the bedroom, like jumping on the bed. There was another time I was playing hide and seek tag with my cousins, and we play it in pairs because it's scary going around this area on our own. And basically there's a second floor exit that goes towards like the back side of the house, towards the mountain area. And I remember my cousin and I wanted to be sneaky. We wanted to like hide outside, but we turn the corner and we see this glowing white man standing there, just standing outside. It was pitch black at night when this happened, and he was just glowing. I saw the pants. He kind of had like spikyish hair. My cousin and I just looked at each other and we ran back inside the house. There was another time I was sleeping with my brother in the master's bedroom. One of my aunts was cleaning the 3rd floor, which is where the bedroom is, and she said that my mom walked into the room, so like a couple minutes after she was like doing the cleaning, she followed her into the room, and apparently my mom wasn't there. She just thought it was my mom because the lady who walked into the bedroom I was sleeping in had long, like dark black hair. There was another time we had like a family gathering in the 2nd floor, which is where the kitchen, living room, and all that stuff is, and A family friend was around that gate where we saw that, like, glowing man. She was there with, like, dishes and doing dishes and stuff. And literally, just randomly in the nighttime, she screamed and ran back, like, into the house. And obviously, everyone was like, what the hell just happened? She said that there was a stick poking through, like, the top-ish area of the gate. There's, like, a gate to get into the house, and apparently there was a wooden stick that was poking through the gate at her, but there was no one there, and the stick, like, fell to the ground. I don't know. Obviously, as a family, we've had many experiences in this house. Nothing tops my haunted doll experience when I was a kid, but I don't even want to share that with the internet because I feel like it's so unbelievable. But yeah, I haven't been home in a while, but this house really has stuff going on in there.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
I swore I'd never be on TikTok, put my face on TikTok. I just have it to watch videos. I'm not a content creator, so, but I had to jump on this trend because it's just so up my alley. So let me preface by saying I'm a behavioral scientist. I am very science-minded. I'm still not totally convinced that ghosts are like departed souls or whatever. There may be a physics explanation, but I definitely believe that there are things that happen that we can't explain. And one of those things happened when I was around 14 years old and continues until today, as far as I know. So when before I was born, my parents moved into this 100-year-old tiny little farmhouse in rural Missouri. Shortly thereafter had me and then had my brother 5 years later. Around the time that I was like 13, 14, they started realizing that we had outgrown that space. And so started building a 4-bedroom house on the same property just down across the field. Because my family have always been like mostly manual laborers and have always done like, work with their hands essentially. My family built the house themselves. And so it was mostly my dad, my grandparents, some uncles and cousins that came over to help. And pretty much as soon as the walls started going up, things started happening. Nothing ever happened in the old farmhouse, but as soon as they started building the new one, stuff started going on down there. And even whenever they were building it, as soon as the walls went up, my cousin like started refusing to come and stay working on the house after dark. Because they all had jobs, they would do the work like before and after work, and so sometimes into the night, and he would leave as soon as it started getting dark because he just said there's something wrong with the house, like something's weird. They kept hearing banging, things would get moved, and we all just kind of thought he was being a sissy and like he was just dumb. But turns out he could have been onto something. So I have so many stories of, just little things, like things being moved, things going missing and then turning up weeks later in the same place that they had gone missing from, things like that. But I'm pretty much just going to tell like the big heavy hitters, and I might do like a part 2 or something later. So as soon as we moved in, my brother didn't really love his room. We had all like picked out our own like bed and bedding and even had like murals and stuff on the walls. And so it was like just really weird that he never wanted to spend any time there. He never wanted to sleep in there. And so, we had kind of just chalked it up to like, it's a change. It's, he's kind of a sensitive kid. Maybe he's just like kind of struggling with that transition. But he started sleeping on the couch in the living room, would never sleep in his room. And so one night, after he had done this, for a few weeks, one night, and at this point he's 9 or 10, so like way beyond the point of like wanting to do this, he asked me if he could sleep in my room with me. I'm like, yeah, I guess, like, yeah, that's fine, like, sure. So that night, and I'm trying to like talk to him, like, big sister, like, is it just like, do you miss the old house, like what's going on? And so he ends up telling me that the night before, when he was asleep on the couch, he thought he saw something. And so he sits up on the couch and like looks down the hallway, and he sees a little girl walking down the hallway and turning like toward my room. And so he wanted to stay in there with me because he was scared, but he was also scared for me that like something was going to happen to me. And, you know, at this point, again, I'm like complete skeptic. I don't believe in ghosts. I like adamantly, you know, there are no monsters under the bed kind of thing. I've always kind of been that way. But I'm just trying to like reassure him, like, it's gonna be fine. It's fine. It'll be, you're okay. Like, I'll keep you safe. Yada, yada, yada. So then literally 10-15 minutes later, as we're having this conversation, he points out the window and I turn and look, and there's a little girl sitting in the tree right outside my window. It was one of the most surreal, weirdest experiences of my life. And as you like, if you think about like ghosts in like movies and stuff, how they're kind of like always glowing, like just like casting light around them, almost like a candle, or like a ball of light. It wasn't like that. She wasn't solid, but she like she was light enough that I could see her even though it was dark outside, but like she wasn't casting light around her at all. And it wasn't like you immediately like look toward the light because she was so bright. It was just like she was light enough that I could see the shape of her face and like the buttons on her dress and like things like that. Anyway, like we saw her for like a split second and immediately started screaming. So my parents run in. Of course, by the time they get there, like she's gone. Like at some point, she has just like evaporated. And my mom, who is to this day like very Christian, evangelical, super religious, starts kind of trying to explain it away. Like, you know, oh, you guys, like it's just been such a big change, and like, you know, it was probably just the leaves and the wind, and you know, and all of this stuff. And my dad is just quiet. He just doesn't say really anything. But before they leave, he just says like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine, and leaves. So the next day, I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, at this point, like I am 14, maybe close to 15 years old. Like I'm trying to have this like rational discussion with him where I convince him that like I'm not crazy. Like we both saw it. It was absolutely real. Like, why don't you believe me, kind of thing. And he just looks at me and he says, I do believe you. I know it's real because I've seen her too.